Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome to the movies. We're going to do a commentary track, a watch-along party for the first time in a long time. And we're going back to Hammer horror, Hammer fairy fanged horror, The Curse of the Werewolf from 1961. Made in 1960, released April 1961. Along with The Shadow of the Cat, which was not a very good movie. And it's a controversial, notorious werewolf movie. One of the best werewolf movies. Oliver Reed gets a sort of leading man status. He'd worked a couple of times before for Hammer in The Sword of Sherwood and Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. And he worked several more times after this for Hammer. But this is where he got his big break, where he became Oliver Reed, Ollie, the manimal himself, with that sheer monstrous intensity that he brings to the screen. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. Now, we've got a lot of newcomers to the channel now. Now, the idea is, I will talk over the top of this movie, but you're going to put the movie on. When I say 3, 2, 1, we press play. So we should be in sync watching the film. And I'm just going to yak all the way over the top of it. Like the yak hair, which adorns Ollie Reed's visage with the wonderful Roy Ashton's makeup as the werewolf in this movie. So, for reference purposes, I'm watching the German release of this from Anolis. It's a good transfer. It's fully uncut. We know this film suffered butchery at the hands of the BBFC, even before the film even got made. Hammer had to submit their screenplays to the BBFC and under the auspices of John Trevelyan, and their track record with the BBFC was not good. And a lot of scenes were cut, changed, dropped altogether before the film was even being filmed. And then it was submitted, and they still took 5 minutes out of the movie. Of course, it all got reinstated now. There's still some scenes which are lost, which kind of never got filmed really. But we'll discuss those as we go along. Now, by way of introduction to it, this film was rushed ahead of schedule in the production diary for Hammer because they were originally going to do The Rape of Sabine. This was a Spanish Inquisition picture about the huge, horrible atrocities that the Spanish Inquisition inflicted upon mainly innocent people. And before it even was in development properly, I mean, they built the sets for it. It was a huge part of this movie. They built the Spanish sets for this and for that Rape of Sabine. But the Catholic Church got wind of it. Someone must have leaked out, what was going to go on. And the church said, no. Their League of Decency said, if you get this film out, we will lobby hard to get it banned. And even the Spanish church got wind of it and voiced their opinion with the exact same idea. You'll be banned! So they had to drop the idea of the Rape of Sabine, or the Inquisition as it was known in an alternative title. So bring ahead Curse of the Werewolf. Well, hang on a minute. We've built these sets for a Spanish hamlet, a Spanish town. Let's use them for Curse of the Werewolf. And the thing about that being that Curse of the Werewolf, written by Anthony Hines under the usual nom de plume, the pseudonym of John Elder, but I think this is the first time he used that, and he'd do it many more times. It was based on Guy Endor's 1933 bestseller, The Werewolf of Paris. Now, that is a incredibly grisly story. The guy involved, the werewolf of the title, he's nasty even when he's not a werewolf. He's digging up corpses, he's drinking blood all the time. He's a right nasty piece of work. But he learns that the love of a good woman can stave off, these urges. But he goes to Paris during the siege of Paris by the Germans. And because of all the bloodshed he sees around him, it ignites that animalistic passion that he's got. And he starts committing murders and atrocities. But he ends up going to a monastery and dying of old age or syphilis or whatever, people die of in monasteries. And when they exhume his grave, it's the body of a wolf, it's the skeleton of a wolf that's in there. So Guy Endor's The Werewolf of Paris is the basis, the genesis of Curse of the Werewolf. This is not like Hammer had done with The Curse of Frankenstein and Dracula, or The Horror of Dracula and The Mummy, which were kind of based on Universal's run of classic gothic horrors. This was a departure in many ways because they weren't following the Universal road. So this is not like 1941's George Wagner and Lon Chaney Jr., The Wolfman. Although, having said that, there are many similarities. Our Wolfman, our werewolf, will find the love of a good woman, can stave off, his tendencies, but he will also go after the woman that he loves, and only by love will he be destroyed and his soul made redemptive by his surrogate father, his adoptive father, Don Alfredo, will have to kill his own son. Well, his own surrogate son, Leon, in this, like Claude Rains has to kill Lon Chaney Jr. at the end of The Wolfman. So it even though it's based on Guy Endor's novel, it still follows a bit of a template from The Wolfman. Although The Wolfman probably followed a bit of the template of Werewolf of Paris. So they're all connected. It's all the wolf's bloodline. Cheers, y'all. Now, I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to watch the English language version, because these foreign discs, you can screw up something chronic with these. Let me just check on this. Sprachen! That's the languages. And it has gone back to the German DTS. Well, we're going to English. And, right, so I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and we're going to start the movie. So whatever version you've got, hopefully it's a Blu-ray copy and fully uncut. I don't think there's no versions out there now which are cut down. And we'll talk about all the cuts and stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to go 3, 2, 1 and then press play, okay? So 3, 2, 1, play. I know some machines have differing times to Universal International. Now we're hearing Benjamin Frankel's quite romantic and lyrical score for this movie. He had done many film scores from the 30s, 40s, 50s into the 60s. A lot of wartime stuff. But he was also, if you look at this now, this opening sequence, the Curse of the Werewolf, the close-up on Oliver Reed's wolfish eyes, but there's tears there. Now, when they first filmed this, because he's got sort of, you can't see the little tubes which are leaking out the tears. And every time they tried to get this right, they'd zoom in on him. It wouldn't work. So they thought, okay, let's do it in reverse. So they had the camera up close on Oliver Reed's eyes, and they pulled back. And of course, when they pulled back and they watched it back the next day, the tears are running up. Back up his face. What the hell? So they had to go back to the original idea. And of course, it's implying the tortured soul of the werewolf, because Leon, Oliver Reed's character, he's not a werewolf by choice, he's not a nasty person at all. He is just, fate has massively conspired against him, as we shall see. Spain, and the bells are ringing. Look at these lovely sets.
A beggar came to the little town of Santa Vera in search of charity.
A beggar.
Although a simple man, he was not so
Look, that's beautiful, isn't it?
when it was a weekday and when it was Sunday.
Arthur Grant is the director of photography on this. It had been, what's his name? Oh God, I forgot the guy's name. Jack Asher had done the previous Hammer movies, and he was famous for using coloured gels and creating really lavish colour scheme and lighting. Now, Arthur Grant always gets a second fiddle, but this movie looks ravishing. And I've got a feeling that he does use colour gels in some sequences. This is Richard Wordsworth, who was in several Hammer movies. He's playing the beggar man here, the instigator of all we will see in the rest of the movie. And he was, of course, the doomed spaceman astronaut Victor Carroon in Hammer's fantastic The Quatermass Experiment, where he comes back to Earth, the only survivor of his spaceship, and he's got an alien parasite with him, and he becomes a huge tentacled, spiky cauliflower, basically, devouring Westminster Abbey. He's also the great grandson of the poet and wordsmith William Wordsworth. Look at this guy here. This guy actually looks like a werewolf already. It's a public holiday because the Marquis is getting married and they've paid for it all. Ordered to rejoice. So the beggar's come in and he's obviously begging just some food or a drink. None of these bastards are going to give him anything at all. You'd give him a bevy, couldn't you, at least? This guy actually looks like the woodcutter who's a werewolf in Hammer's only other venture into lycanthropy in the Hammer House of Horror TV show, Children of the Full Moon, which I have reviewed fully on the channel. But the woodcutter is the werewolf, and even before he becomes a wolfman, he looks just like that. Equally as wolfy. Oh, this poor guy.
The beggar took the man at his word and climbed the long.
Now, this narration, I'm not sure who delivers this narration.
Marquis was celebrating his wedding day with a feast.
Oh, here's the Marquis. Well, the Marquis and the Marquess to be. Look at that set. Stage 1, Bray. Benjamin Frankel's sort of mock medieval score, pageantry. That's Anthony Dawson playing the Marquis. He was a bastard and a half. He played a villain in most movies. He's also famously in Doctor No as a villain. Scottish actor. The James Bond connection will carry on because if you look, and we'll see him, that one of the butlers or the footmen is actually Desmond Llewellyn, who played Q throughout many James Bond adventures. And his young bride here is played by Josephine Llewellyn. Now, they are no relation, Josephine and Desmond Llewellyn. Just a quirk of coincidence. Look at him. Hammer loves to do this. The aristocracy are presented as absolutely ruthless, callous, cruel bastards. Because Hammer was very, very working class and hated the aristocracy. Especially in films like The Hound of the Baskervilles, The Plague of the Zombies, and this, they are really portrayed as just conniving, cruel bullies. Oh, come on, guys, it isn't that funny. Come on. One thing I've learned in life, never take the piss out of the cook. Some guy's going to feed you. That's a beautiful shot, that, isn't it? This is to say, Arthur Grant tends to get a bit more of a, dismissed for his work on Hammer. But it's fantastic. Here's Desmond Llewellyn.
Well, charity of your noble master's heart. Go away, man.
Look at that angle there. He's trying to tell him, go away before he sees you.
Bring him in.
Oh, it's all going to go wrong here now. You can see Desmond on him actually thought, like, I'm trying to save you here, mate.
I'm afraid you were so late that we started without the show.
It's not good, is it?
Noble lord, if from the deep charity of your good heart, if only
Oh, the poor beggar's mantra.
if you could spare a little bread.
A little earlier, a whole goose would have been yours. But now, as you see, everything's gone.
Oh, you're a funny guy, aren't you?
Not a crumb left.
He's the kind of guy that, you know, all his acolytes and disciples will all laugh alongside him because the big bully boy, the one who's got the power, they're too afraid not to. I've never done that.
Suppose he is.
I've always stood up against them.
Would you like to have it?
He'd get a right smack, he would. A right smack in the chops. I'd make sure I've eaten the food first and drank all the wine, obviously, but then I'd have him.
5, 10.
But of course, his wife, his new bride, is sympathetic. And he's trying to please her, obviously. Richard Wordsworth is fantastic. He's such a great actor. Look at that floor.
And now, here's yours, my dear. Your video.
It's like something you'd see in The Devil Rides Out or Kiss of the Vampire.
Wine for our new
Or even any of the Dracula movies.
wine.
The poor guy doesn't realise that they're just taking the piss out of him. Such great faces. All of them have got great faces.
Hey, not in that petty little cup. Here, fill this.
Too damn right. Give me that goblet. Christ, what kind of wine is that? Like carrot juice? Oh, that's better.
Food, I must have food.
What a great voice as well.
You must sing for it first.
I can't sing.
You can see that, like that footman there, they don't like what's happening. You can tell. They're all being led a dog's life, aren't they? They're all these wiggy bastards. By the way, he does get into the swing of things here. It starts like umpire. It's like an umpire band going on. It's very theatrical. My mum was an actress, and she met Richard Wordsworth. She never actually acted with him, but she acted with another person in this movie, which we'll come on to. It's a bit pantomime, isn't it? But it's so well done. Look, he is fabulous, isn't he? Ooh, careful now, son. Do yourself an injury.
Here, dog. Here's your bone. Come on, come again like a good dog.
See, it's quite portentous. You see, what they're not making clear is that in the script, the original script, he is meant to be a werewolf. But they do not make that clear in this because John Trevelyan, head of the BBFC, did not like the idea of what's going to come next, of a monster raping a woman. So that had to be excised from the script. So it doesn't come across. Even the rape was cut out. I mean, let's face it, if they're going to completely ban a film called The Rape of Sabine, which made place for this, they're not going to have a rape in this movie either. Oh, he screws up here. See, you get away with it right at this point.
Have a good night.
Oh! Oops.
Oh, and so
Don't forget his man. A wedding gift for my husband. Something is to be done.
well, quite right.
See, it kind of reveals, like, the beggar, that there is a sort of bestial quality to him there. I mean, he didn't drink that much wine to have lost all his faculties that easily, but
The beggar was imprisoned in the castle dungeon.
so he's now kept there for
Time passed.
years and years and years and
He was
years.
forgotten.
He's getting hairier.
The only people he ever saw were the jailer and the little girl. The serious.
Listen to the narration. The jailer and his little girl.
You give it to him. He's your friend.
There's the mute servant girl, the jailer's daughter. Well, this is quite seedy and repulsive. Look, she does look like the woman that she becomes, but it's the little looks that he gives her. I mean, he's thankful for the food, as you would be, but there's a ravenous lasciviousness. That's a great set as well, isn't it?
And the beggar remained a prisoner, now completely forgotten by the Marquis.
That's a nice transition there.
The jailer died. His daughter,
That's actually a brilliant transition.
but still she could not speak.
And here we go with Yvonne Romaine, who looks very Hispanic. She's actually a Londoner. She's got a look of Vanessa Fielding, actually. A very sort of gothic, elegant, exotic look. Now, see, even his arms are hairy here, suggestive of, look, he's not entirely human. She's mute, remember. So visually, we're implying that he is a werewolf. Although he seems to have survived all the full moons that have transpired. So her dad, the jailer's dead, and this the Marquis, his wife, that young bride, she's died as well.
Lost him the few friends he possessed. Now he lives a recluse in his own
So as the narration says, he's now a recluse. He's a warty, wrinkly, pustular recluse. Zoom. See that? This is directed by Terence Fisher, and who's the greatest Hammer director. And he said that he's always hated zooms in movies. To quote him, he said, "It's just a trick. They are crap and shit.
Tell me your name.
And they're used too often." In this movie, it's the first time that he would use zooms. And they're very effective as well. Look at this bastard. You've got a bit of the Ebenezer Scrooge going on here as well. Oh, you wouldn't want to bite him, would you? So he's aged now and decrepit. A life of debauchery has left him just a physical wreck. His young wife's gone to an early grave. His friends have all deserted him. And even the servant girl doesn't fancy him. Is it any wonder? Nice bit of work here. Bit of prop display and keep you interested. Typical Terence Fisher.
The one that just went out, idiot.
Just a servant, my lord. Used to work below, my lord. In the dungeon.
Oh, used to work below in the dungeons, you say? Right.
In the dungeon, eh?
Look at this. Oh no. Now I was giving these guys a bit of leeway earlier, wasn't I? That they don't really want to do what they're doing. They don't like the Marquis. Never sure how you say that. If it's the bloke, is that the Marquis and the girl is the Marquis? I don't know. Oh dear. Here she is, the love of my life. Is it dinner time? There's a bit more meat there than you used to. Yvonne Romain used to walk past Hammer posters all the time and wish that she was in movies. She had done a lot of other stuff before this, but she finally got her break with this. Oh, she is absolutely gorgeous. And I so look more like him. No. Ugh. So this rape scene was cut out at the screenplay stage. Now, Terence Fisher was never going to show anything anyway. He would show the advance taking place, and it would imply a lot. But you know, I think we kind of get the gist of what's happened. There's claw marks on her breasts. Another trigger point there, of course, with the BBFC, blood on breasts. They took huge exceptions to this movie because you've had Michael Powell's exceptionally good and hugely taboo breaking Peeping Tom only the year before. And the backlash against the BBFC was colossal. So they really came down hard. Look, the exertions of his of the rape has killed him. So they come down hard on this movie. No, see, this scene was cut as well in picking off the scabs here. And that moment there where he actually got a bit of the makeup off, Roy Ashton's fantastic makeup, and he sort of flicks it away from his fingertips. That was Terence Fisher didn't know he was going to do that, and he thought that's great. Let's just keep that in. But that was cut out originally as well. Now look at this. That is not a knife or a dagger she's got there. That is, I'm not sure what the hell that is. It's a stand of some description. Would you put a huge candle on top of that? Wedge the candle wax on the spike? She stabs him 5 times. That scene was heavily cut, of course. It took decades before we saw that scene properly. Now we're in Black Park, where Hammer frequently filmed their exteriors. Day for night, very often, very badly usually. That's not too bad there. Because it looks dark and there's no shadows cast by the sun.
It was here that I found.
Now the narration has changed. Because now you've got Clifford Evans, who is Don Alfredo. Here he is, Welsh actor. And he wrote some movies as well. He has a look of Benny Hill with the wig on and the mustachio. But that's actually Yvonne Romain lying in the lake there as well. Freezing cold. So he's found her, he takes her in. She's killed the Marquis, bad boy, and done a runner. Still can't talk. Now this is the wealthy Don Alfredo, a lovely, lovely fella. That is not his wife. That is the housemaid, Teresa, played by Hera Talfi, who again looks, she looks very exotic. No, that's his housemaid, but they may as well be a married couple. Look at the eyebrow. She's with child?
No, no, don't try to. Just take a
Because
deep breath.
poor servant mute girl, Yvonne Romaine, has been impregnated by the beggar werewolf.
A little more.
Now that alone is, in superstition, some superstitions, is enough to warrant your child being lycanthropic.
Now you can go right
But this film will
my herbs.
double down on that by having Leon being born on Christmas Day, which again, due to European superstition, would be an insult to God, and would condemn that child to being possessed and evil.
Baby in the house.
But they double down even further, because on the Christmas Day that he's born, there's a bloody full moon as well. So that's Anthony Hydes, really compounding the fact he is going to be a werewolf. Look at the colour scheme here, look at the reds. The art design is by Bernard Robinson, and his wife Margaret Robinson would frequently work for Hammer movies as well. I like that. I like the a married couple working together on creative projects like this. It just seems nice, and it bleeds into the Hammer ethos of working with the same people all the time and creating a family ethic to their productions. Margaret Robinson was actually a puppeteer, and she'd also play a huge part in creating the costumes that you see in all these movies as well.
I'm beginning to be a bit worried.
What about?
Of course, you may think me superstitious. You may think me superstitious.
And the production designer was, of course, Don Mingay. Again, all of these people were working together time after time after time and knew each other's ways, and they could do things on automatic pilot.
It's always on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is always on the 25th.
Look, she's trying to tell him, look, the child's going to be born on Christmas Day, and that ain't good.
What's worrying?
What worries me is that the girl upstairs is about to have her baby. And as like as not, it will be born on the very hour of our Lord's birth.
Surely that should be a reason to rejoice.
See, I'd agree with him.
Insult to anything. That's what I was taught in the village where I come from. The girls stay away from the men in March and April.
The girls stay away from the men in March and April.
Oh, too late. Otherwise,
Doesn't seem to bother him round here. I'll tell you that for a fact. That's pure Benny Hill there. That face he pulled there. That's a great shot as well. You go into the big church and you can see framed between the towers of the church or the cathedral, the full moon. Now here's your gypsy woman Maliva, your Madame Uspenskaya from 1941's The Wolfman. It isn't her. I'm just saying she's fulfilling the same sort of role with the rituals and all this kind of stuff to ward off demons and evil spirits. Because as we've been told by the Catholic priest, the demons are abroad and they're looking for hosts. So, and a convenient one would be a newborn babe. You could get in there, if you're a demon, you go whoosh in there and possess that poor, beleaguered human body with evil. Of course, Yvonne Romaine, who you're looking at right now, was used heavily in the promotional of this movie for all the posters, all the lobby cards, everything. Mainly because she's absolutely gorgeous. And you would have Oliver Reed in full werewolf makeup, holding her aloft, carrying her and menacing her. She will never share any screen time with Oliver Reed or the werewolf. So, but the reason why they did that is because she's so gorgeous. And the love interest in this movie, Christina, played by what's her name? Catherine Feller? Is it Catherine Feller? Do you know what? I've forgotten her bloody name now. Catherine Feller. Well, comparatively, she's not that good looking compared to Yvonne Romain. And that is quite clearly the very reason. Wolves howling. And then you're going to hear the wail of a newborn babe. He does kind of overact his reactions there, but you know, it's still beautiful. And it's lovely and poetic and sort of heavily shadowed with portent and ominous sensibilities. The wolves howl, the newborn wails. So the mute girl has given birth to her son. The son, the produce of a rape, it's killed him. Nothing's boding well for this young guy here, is it? He's born on Christmas Day. He's the son of a rape. The father, well, we're not told it, but it is meant to be the father was a werewolf. And his mum's died. See, this is a great sequence as well. Here's the priest, played by John Gabriel. I think it is John Gabriel. Yeah, perfect name for a priest, isn't it? John Gabriel. Oh look, hang on. Where's the sun gone? Here's the font. A fair bit of Latin blarney. Hang on, what's happening to that? That's just like a foot on a pedal, exciting the water. Oh no. Thunder and lightning. Gargoyles. It's nothing, it's just the wind. The priest is like, oh no. This ain't good. Little kid's good, isn't it? Behaving itself. Terence Fisher didn't like working with kids. Although he'll be forced to work with the child. As we're going to see, you have the first act, which is now ended. Now you get the second act, which is the young Leon. And then you get the third act with Oliver Reed, obviously. Now this is Warren Mitchell. It's Alf Garnett. Obviously, we all know him from playing a racist bigot in comedy shows. A Millwall supporter. My mum worked with him, and she said he was a lovely, fantastic fella, and hugely talented. And they were on stage. Don't think it was a TV show. I'm sure it was on stage. But she would not watch any of his comedy shows on TV because she said that's not his character. That is not who he is, and I don't like it. I despise it. So even though she loved him and worked with him, she just couldn't watch it. He was playing Pepe. He was protecting the herds. And that George Woodbridge. He's in a few Hammer movies, lots of other stuff. Again, that's Black Park, and we're meant to be in Spain. Well, if you've been to Spain, especially mainland Spain, and you go off the beaten track, it's quite arid, and it does look like that. If you go to like where he filmed the Dollars trilogy, Sergio Leone, Almeria, it looks like that. So Black Park did this film a lot of great wonders here. And Black Park's Buckinghamshire.
No, he can't stand the sight of that, can he? I remember the day Penn hunted with me. Nearly fainted when I shot a squirrel, cried his little heart out.
Oh, I see. They're talking about little Leon.
Well, I better not keep them.
And he's got a peaceful soul. Doesn't like animals being killed. And you, well, look, here's little Leon.
Oh, there you are.
Now, this guy, this little lad, is extraordinary.
Breakfast, my angel?
Justin Walters, I think his name is. Let me just get this.
Lunch yesterday and hardly any supper last night.
Justin Walters, yeah, I'm right.
Come, I've made some of my hot.
He looks like Oliver Reed. And his voice, the way he speaks, it's Peter Sallis. It's Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. And of course, whatever his name was in, oh God, Last of Summer Wine. He's the town mayor. He's actually in a few horror films, Peter Sallis.
Yes, senor. 24 hours.
So obviously the goats are now getting their throats ripped out. There's something abroad on the land. Well, we know what it is. It's little Leon, isn't it? But wolves. Now, okay, it's day for night shooting again here. But it's... I mean, you can get away with this because with a full moon, you get a hell of a lot of light from a full moon. Especially if it's a cloudless sky and you're, well, going back to military days here, you do not want to be moving anywhere across the land because you will be seen. It's almost like the clarity is like daylight. You don't want to be moving anywhere under a full moon. Even if it's cloudy, because the clouds will part and you'll be exposed. Little howl. Very bright blood, isn't it? Of course, this is all shot with Eastman colour, which is the poor man's Technicolor. But again, with the likes of the lighting and camera work that Hammer was using, they really pushed this, and these things look lavish. Look, here's Oliver Reed. He's little Oliver Reed. They took the bullet out of his leg. So now we know Pepe shot Leon. Leon was out on the prowl. He's our sheep and goat killer. Of course, Don Alfredo, and Teresa both know exactly what the score is now. Christmas Day. Mother's died. I don't think they know about the rape though. So Pepe's saying like what he's done. That's Pepe's wife behind the bar in the background there. Now she reminds me in a scene later on of the great Cloris Leachman from Young Frankenstein. You know, Frau Blucher, and Mel Brooks has the horses going mee whenever you hear Blucher. Yeah, I just did that without getting embarrassed. But there you go.
Doesn't it come through here? I have heard him.
You'll be asleep.
I have woken up.
Yeah, so like they're trying to work out how the hell did he get out?
You mean he climbed out of the window?
You mean he climbed out of the window? It's the English voices kind of go against the look. But it doesn't matter.
Way of finding out.
Again, look at this set. It's beautiful. They work wonders on minuscule budget. See, Teresa knows. She knows more than Don Alfredo does. Oh, look at him.
I want you to tell me everything. Promise. And truthfully,
They've got the same blue eyes
you go now.
as Oliver Reed. The hair, the shape of the face.
Where did you go? Leon, you promised to tell me the truth. Then how did you get hurt? You couldn't have left like that in bed.
See, he calls him uncle. He will call him father later.
I don't really remember, Uncle. Not very clearly. But it was like other nights.
Other nights.
So he's had dreams of being a wolf.
Tell me, Leon, when did these dreams start?
Oh, this is horrible, this.
I think it was after I went out hunting with you with Pepe. He wanted to show me how to shoot. He
Oh.
wanted me to shoot a squirrel, but I wouldn't, so he shot it for me. He pulled the trigger, and then a little squirrel squeaked in his throat. It was horrible. I picked it up and tried to kiss it better.
Oh, God. You know what?
And that tasted something warm, like being a blood. But it tasted sweet. I want to keep on tasting it, but Pepe took it away.
So he's drinking the blood.
Well, sit down, Uncle.
No, I don't.
I've had bad dreams, Uncle.
What do you dream?
I dream my wolf, like in a picture book. I dream my wolf drinking blood. Help me, Uncle, please help me.
Yes, I'll help you.
Again, there's a very Benny Hill look about his face, Clifford Evans. And look, how come he hadn't noticed this before? Jesus. Now, look at that. That's Cloris Leachman there, isn't it? From Young Frankenstein. That is. She's possessed by Cloris Leachman. Yeah. The bullets. They're big bloody bullets, them, you know. They're the kind of bullets that would take you. If they hit you in the side, you'd lose your arm. If they just skimmed your earlobe, they would take your head off. Look at the size of them. That smacking, it's like, just like a mini cannonball.
Elemental spirits about us at all times, my son. Spirits without bodies.
See how
creatures that have never lived.
they're aging people all the time, slightly,
Vision of these
but it's happening.
the highest creation of God's
So the
heaven,
priest now is gonna
the body of man.
he's gonna talk about the spirits, how they get into the bodies and all that. Like,
Some say that to prevent this invasion that man's body stiffens into rigor mortis the moment he is dead. The roaming spirit entering the body then finds only a dry.
well, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If you're dead and you're rigor mortis, the spirit can't reanimate that body, so they want new flesh.
Yes. I'll tell you, my son. Sometimes it so happens that the spirit of one of these beasts finds entrance into a body while it yet lives.
Now, I've not watched this film in quite some time. I have discussed the movie many times before, but I've not actually sat and watched it like this
But if the
for
soul
quite a
of
while.
man is strong and clean, it will generally exalt
And I'm finding it quite refreshing and energizing watching it, to be honest.
For some reason, the soul is weak. An inherited weakness.
I don't know what transfer you're looking at now, but this is glorious. The detail is incredible. There are many versions of this now on Blue and, well, a lot on DVD, obviously, but you want to try and get a Blue. A Blu-ray!
That is what he is, my son. A werewolf is a body with a soul and a spirit that are constantly at war. The spirit
See, now, I always find this quite
and
amusing.
whatever weakens
When you watch people like these who are like established theatrical and TV and film actors, and they've done serious stuff like Shakespeare, and then suddenly they've got to use words like werewolf and spout all this gobbledygook of legends and superstition. They must inwardly be going like, what the hell? What is this crap I'm saying here? A werewolf, you know? But for me, since my early years, you know, and I watched the Universal movies when they were on TV at a very tender age, and of course the Hammer stuff, and I was massively invested in all of this, the occult, vampires, werewolves. So to me, it's always been common language, common lingo. But I do imagine Some of these are going like, a werewolf, you know, can only be killed by a silver bullet, or by being burned alive, which is what I think he may have just said that. I'm not too sure. It's Michael Ripper, Hammer's stalwart, Michael Ripper. He's played every fucking role you can imagine. He's been a postman, a priest, a soldier, a policeman, a doctor, an old soak, a sewerman. He's been everything. And of course, his best work is known from Hammer. There's always some guy who's going to give the legend, but, you know, they all think he's a dickhead, he's drunk. But Pepe's like, hang on a minute. I wish I could just stagger into a pub and like start spouting werewolf tales and get given free whiskey. He's got wine, I know. Let's not be pedantic about these things. Hang on, mate, you could have stayed. This film has some really tottering, doddery drunks in it.
Well, whatever it is out there, my husband will get rid of it. Won't you, my dear?
It's going to do this clean.
I think he plays this really well. He plays it understated, Warren Mitchell. But you can see there's some sort of grave thoughts and doubts in his mind. Look at this. Bars on the fucking window, you know. Lovely, that father.
That should keep your nightmares away.
Uncle. Yeah, he's still calling him uncle at this stage.
I'm a wolf, I can protect you.
Now listen, all of you. Just about enough. If any one of you makes another insulting remark about my good husband, he goes out of that door.
I wish my wife, Mrs. Kilt-Man, would be quite as adamant as that. She just joins in, taking a piss out of me. That's a great waistcoat, that, as well. Nice and suitably leather. See what they've done there? There's the silver crucifix. Let's melt it down. Let's smelt it into bullets. Or a bullet. You've got to be careful with that. You've got to make sure it's rifled correctly. You can't just hurl that down the barrel. But it's a nice bit of attention to detail here. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I like that waistcoat. That battered leather waistcoat. If Snake Plissken wore a waistcoat, it'd be that. You could have lied. Oh, I don't know. And she didn't walk in there and think, oh, are you cooking soup? A nice broth. It smells a bit metallic. Oh, did you think about that, Pepe? Given to her by the Archbishop himself. But you're out there hunting werewolves, aren't you? It's a very, very meagre flock, isn't it, when you think about it? But uh-oh. Even a man who is pure at heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. See, now this location and the filming here is infinitely more believable and credible than anything you've seen in Doctor Who. Even the classic vintage Doctor Who's where they kept using the same old quarry. He's got his fangs there as well. Oh yeah, the thing... These classic werewolf stories are tragedies. I love them. I love perhaps werewolves to be savage, nasty bastards who are genuinely villains all the time. I'd love that to be the case, but so often the best werewolf movies, the human is the poor victim as well. Oh look, he shot the dog. He shot Dominique's dog, George Woodbridge, which he suspected initially, but
Now, if you don't like
it's Oliver Reed, folks,
why you can't stay here.
aka Robbie Williams, with a bit more meat on his bones. See that they've aged the other two, and obviously the little lad Justin Walters has grown remarkably quickly into Oliver Reed.
Have you got your money safe?
So he'd already been in a bit parter in other movies, but most notably in 2 Hammer films beforehand, Sword of Sherwood and Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. He would go on to The Damned and Paranoiac as well after this, and others for Hammer. See, love has kept him
Thank God, senor.
away from the curse. Kept him free from the curse. Look at this set. That's bloody big, that. I don't know if I said before, but Black Park has lakes and streams and that, but they're often stricken with algae, which is poisonous to dogs. So don't walk your dogs there, let them drink any of the water. Carefree, cavalier nature. Great costumes. There's lots of geese and chickens and stuff in this neck of the woods. Wine. Ooh, watch out. Hoi polloi coming past. You bastards. Look at that twat. Here's the guy that runs the winery. You don't see the vineyard though.
You look strong. Do you like work?
Yes, my favorite.
You better come in.
So Leon's like seeking his fortune. Leon, of course, meaning lion, but he's a wolf. So, oh, here's Jose, who will become his mate. Well, albeit briefly. The wine goes on the inside, the lake was go on the outside. Remember that? Job done.
Welcome. He said you'd tell me what I have to do. Oh, I see.
He said you'd tell me what to do.
That's why.
He has such a wonderful way of speaking.
And there's the labels. Put the one inside, put the labels outside.
Yeah. Fucking poor geese. And these carriages are going to go riding round and round, and the poor geese and chickens are going to have to run in other circles.
Who's that?
Well, the old misery is Don Fernando. You know that already, don't you?
Don Fernando.
The young misery is young Gomez, as well owns this place. And
So you got this guy.
what do you really want to know about?
Now he's
That's Fernando's daughter, who
he's engaged to Christina, who's the daughter of the guy who runs the vineyard and all that.
I mean, just look at it.
And he's a right little arrogant bastard. Again, he's not like the bully boy like the Marquis, but he's still he's a bully boy in the making.
I can be a little more gracious to your future husband.
It's if I remember rightly, it's meant to be an arranged marriage as well, I think. She's coming this way. Yeah, those blue eyes, that he has got such an intensity. Now he's going to fall in love with Christina, and she will fall in love with him. Now Christine fella said that these two didn't get along. They had a personal sort of difference, but she admired his acting ability and professionalism, and they worked perfectly together on set, and when they were queued up and all that. And obviously there's scenes of passion, but she said, I was never attracted to him. I thought he was a great talent. I could see he was going to go far, but I wasn't attracted to him. But she said all her friends were like dead jealous that she had to go and snog the face off this up and coming star, Oliver Reed. Look at him. He's got a right seedy look about him, hasn't he? The fat jolly boy. And that's me saying that,
It's very unfair. This is the third evening running you've had a headache and you've had a...
It's very unfair. They're meant to be Spanish, remember?
No, it is beastly inconvenient.
It's beastly inconvenient. What a toe rag.
No, it's not the money.
So this is Christine Fella. She
Unfair, that's what it is.
she after this, I think she did a few other movies. She would marry a couple of times with Italians. She's got a taste for the exotic, didn't she? And she actually lives with wolves. She has a wolf, and God love her. But remember, I was saying before about she wasn't used in any of the publicity. That's sort of what 17th century pornography. Well, you've got to make your own pleasure, haven't you? I suppose. Love it. There's actually a bit of a Charles Lawton, look about him. Now, it's payday.
Saturday.
Oh.
We must celebrate. Celebrate. It's payday.
Well, I knew I'd get there at some point. A bit of dancing. My mate worked with Oliver Reed during the filming Gladiator, and he's in. If you watch the extended cut of Gladiator, Commodus has two Praetorian guards executed via arrows, and a squad of archers dispatched them, and Commodus stands between them, and the poor archers are quivering like mad. Now, my mate Adam Levy played the one with the curly hair, who does speak in that sequence, and Adam Levy said, because he's only seen in the extended version of the movie, which is the version to watch, and of course he was there in Malta when they filmed Gladiator, and he said that Oliver Reed he wouldn't take out the Richard Harris and obviously Russell Crowe and all the other boozy diehards and wild kids from Hollywood. Wouldn't go out with them, but he would take out all the extras and the crew and to his favourite bars and restaurants in Malta, and he'd pay for everything for them. Of course, it's in his favourite bar in Malta that he had a heart attack and died. It's very swift romance, isn't it? But then again, if she's stuck with this stuffy, top-hatted, arrogant buffoon, and you get this ribald, animal-eyed, magnetic charisma of this man brute. This is real Christina. He's massively impulsive, isn't he? Come on, with me, Christina. We can live a love life away from here. See, now I don't mean to be disparaging about anybody, but Catherine Fellas, she's, clues in the name. She's more like a fella than a woman. She's got a really long neck as well, like a pelican. See, I'm looking at the lighting there, and I'm thinking that Arthur Grant is using gels. Not just that Jack Ash is renowned for it, but Arthur Grant's definitely using. Look at the lighting there. That glowing blue that you had. And look outside that window, that little floor level window that they've got there. Look at that glow there.
It's unthinkable. Come to think of it, it's downright immoral.
All right. I give it.
Sorry, my own werewolf is now rousing itself. The husky's about to make her presence felt. It's quiet and respectable. This is a bit OTT. Look again. Look in the background. Look at the colours there. There's gels being used somehow or other. They really are putting a bit of extra lighting oomph into things. Look at him. Is he really the best that they can get? Roxy's moving behind the camera right now. And if she knocks it, we could be in trouble. Go on, reverse on. There's a nice shot there. The full moon. And some really, really ugly women. Beads of perspiration. Blazing blue eyes. You won't see him transform yet.
You're not feeling very well. Why don't you get some fresh air?
And these prostitutes, these brothel babes, they're pure cockneys. Everything's me dear, oh dearie, oh me dear. Are you too hot, me dear? I'll loosen your clothing, dear. Go and get some breath on the veranda. Again, you know, these sets are superb.
Wishing on the moon. Did I make you jump?
The makeup's bloody horrible. Been to Spain,
New moon, you guys.
and they don't look like that.
You're not slow, aren't you?
Aren't you?
Don't you feel very well?
Now, come on, hon. Look, you've got a guy who's pissed as a fart, or so you'd think. Don't you feel very well? And she's trying to seduce him. If he doesn't feel very well and he's been drinking, you don't want to be anywhere near him. He's going to throw up.
Worry about her in there. You step up the back way.
Euphemism, perhaps. Look at these sets. I keep saying about this, but there are some critics who snub this movie and say it looks Poverty Row compared to the rest of Hammer's output. What film are they watching? It's beautiful. It's lavish. It's really, really well art designed, and the production is impeccable. Oh, come on, hon. You know. He's crazy, isn't he? Very Charles Lawton. Oh, did your top come slightly undone there? Again, look at that. Look at that frame. Look at the view outside the window. My God. Perfectly synced up moon there to stare me right in my bestial lycanthropic eyes.
Why don't I make you more comfortable?
See? Loosening up the top. I love the frilly white gothic shirt as well.
Worrying about your girlfriend downstairs.
Your girlfriend downstairs. That man-faced brute. Uh-oh. All right, dear.
All right, dear.
Come here. Don't call me dear. I'm not a deer. I'm a wolf. I'm going to bite you. I'm going to savage you. And then I'm going to eat you. Look, he's bitter as well. Oi, here!
What's the idea?
What's the idea, Governor?
What you came for? You came to the wrong place. I wouldn't mind.
Again, this was cut down at the screenplay scripted stage. There would be more overt violence.
Sitting here by myself.
I shall personally supervise his immediate return.
Christ, don't fall on her, you crush her.
He's plenty strange now.
Actually, I take it back, she's quite nice. Although she's got that cackle. Oh, God. That blood. But there's some rips there, look at that. That's tempered by hair having red hair. Again, look at the glow behind. That. Come on now. We've all been drunk. Me more than most. But do you ever totter about and fall over like that? This is quite violent, this. That's his mate as well. Like he's hoisting him up. Blah. Boosh. Oh God! This is quite sad. This is the guy whose dog was killed, and there's Peppy who killed his dog. Every night for the past 13 years, he's been banging on about this. That bloody dog. Well, he loved his dog, Peppy, and his dog, by the way, wasn't the killer. However, George, or Dominique as his name is in this, is going to meet the killer. Listen, the snarling around him. Again, it's Oliver Reed doing the vocalization. No, did we hear a distant howl then? So oh, what? That's horrible, isn't it? Anonanthrac. There's a little bit of Excalibur for you there. Look at this. This is a hell of a dive here. Watch this. I remember this. It's head first. Look at that. God, you walk down a street at night and you hear that. Rush on by quickly. So he's come back home after leaving to see the world. See the world. He went down the road. He only went down in road. Yeah. How come you? Well, actually, he's in bed. He would be naked, wouldn't he? Uh-oh. Yeah, how'd you get in without us noticing? Oh. Now, isn't that weird? Those bars are pushed inward. In every movie because don't forget, it's only in movies you can pull bars and mess around with bars. But in every movie when, if they're on the inside, they pull the bars in towards them. They don't push them out. So he was on the outside and he's pushed the bars inward. But there you go. Oh God, Teresa's really aged, hasn't she?
Try, please, try. I tell you, I can't remember anything.
Millennium. It's Robbie Williams.
There's blood on my hand. Where did I get blood on my hand?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
The priest, he's like, listen, I told you all. I warned you. there. When your mum says to you, no matter what you've done, they're there. You know. You've just killed 12 people in a bar fight. You've glassed a load. You've done all sorts of damage and debauchery. They're there. Everything will be alright. Here's a glass of Lucasade. Now, Eon, enter a monastery.
Until then, you must be chained.
And watched night and day. During the werewolf persecutions, which ran alongside the witch persecutions throughout Europe and ran rampant, and thousands were killed in various countries, put to the stake, tortured, beaten, hanged, burned alive. Some did get away with it, despite having admitted and actually having evidence to prove that they did kill people and rip them apart and do all sorts of nasty things. Did get put into monasteries. Oops. Love that. Ran in there. We haven't seen what he saw though. Oh dear. It's the constabulary. It's the Rozzers. Why? That's him. That's the one.
Are you Leon Corrido? Yes. A friend of Jose Amadeo? Yes. I understand you were both at a certain establishment last night.
A certain establishment. You were at the whorehouse, weren't you?
You left early. Is that right? You think so? Well, I had a lot to drink. Where did you go then, Senor Corrido? Oh, are you sure?
Yes, I just left it.
You just left there. I see.
They're looking at him like,
Why are you asking me this question?
Just making some inquiries. Okay, senor.
just making some inquiries. You know, it's not Midsummer Murders, is it?
I hope you'll feel ashamed of yourself. Going to a place like that, getting drunk, disgusting.
Going to a place like that and getting drunk. Don't you own a vineyard? Don't you sell wine?
No cat.
That must be your biggest bloody customer. What a dickhead. Going to a place like that and getting drunk. These are wonderful, evocative shots. Look at these. Again, the full moon looks amazing in this movie. Because again, you got the full moon cycle, haven't you? So you got another 2 nights of this. Now this is nice. Again, this reflects back upon what's it called? Werewolf of Paris, Guy Endor's novel. The love of someone that loves him back can stave off the transformation. So he has not changed during this second night. He hasn't changed at all. And I think he asked it about, did I change? My hands, my face. Now, I think this reminds me of I forgot, Jean Grenier, the famous young French werewolf. Again, I said before, like some would be burned at the stake, some would be hanged or hacked to bits, tortured. He admitted to many murders and gave vast details. And he said, "Well, how were your hands when this killing took place? And how were your teeth? How's your face?" And he says, like, I don't know how my hands were or my face. I just used my teeth, because he ripped throats out of all women and he chased people and attacked people. And he ended up in a monastery, but he had the entire court laughing with him. They loved him. They thought he was immense entertainment. Maybe a bit like the beggar at the start of this. They used him for fun. But a guy that genuinely committed murders, possibly under hallucination, possibly mad, but he thought he was a werewolf and he committed savage murders. Jean Grenier. Look it up. But the quote he said about how are my hands, how's my face, seems reminiscent of that. Will you come? Oh dear. I just, like, she says she doesn't find him attractive at all. Hammer has a tendency to use really beautiful women. I'll say it now, and I'll probably say it again. Caroline Munro! But Catherine Feller ain't one of them. Oops. So you made your getaway plans and it's all gone titty up.
Leon Torino, I must ask you to accompany me.
But why?
You are in charge of murder.
Look, the thing about Oliver Reed's performance, you look at it now and you go, oh, that's very theatrical, it's very arch.
You must, don't you understand? You must.
It's OTT. But that is how he does act throughout the rest of his movies. And yet he can do marvellously understated. It's Michael Rippon again. The old soak's got pissed again and got himself banged up. This jailer. Oh, I forgot this guy's name. Oh, I don't know if I have. Oh, I don't think so. Nope. Oh. No, I don't. I apologise. Oh, but his mate, I should have said before, Jose, Martin Matthews played him. And it's Ewan Solon plays Don Fernando, who runs the vineyard. But I was out last night in the Telegraph, and I've got a mate who came up to talk to me who looks just like this jailer. Now, it is a very sort of Hispanic look. The black, the red, the veil. Actually, she looks very pretty there. I'll give her that. Oh, I'm horrible, aren't I? I'm so horrible. I don't mean to be. But it's a curse. I can't help it. This poor bastard as well, she's engaged to, let's not forget. What? How dare you?
Where is he, Father? Please, where is he?
He's right where he deserves to be.
Where is he? I must go to him, Father. He needs me.
Need you.
I don't know if you heard that, but my stomach just growled big time, mainly because I'm absolutely starving.
Yes. Listen.
What for? What do they say he's done?
I'm not interested in what he's done.
Actually, he's pretty good. It's just Don Fernando, the dad.
Rico, will you please
Rico.
talk to him? What? I want you to take me to the town.
You cheeky bitch. You snubbed him, your betrothed, for another guy. I'll take your carriage. No, you won't. How dare you? So she locks him in, yeah. Yeah. Look. So she's just told the coachman, like, it's an order to take her to the prison. They're just there, and they're shouting, Christina! And this dickhead's just, like, chasing the geese and the chickens around. That dickhead's, like, not even listened to. We haven't told her to take her there. Just bring her back. So he I'm sure will call Don Alfredo father during this later section. That priest got even older in the last few minutes.
We must go to the mayor. Habib, no,
Tell him what I am. Tell him I'm a werewolf, you know.
Yes, now. Before sunset. And Father, you must tell him how it must be done.
Bobby burned alive.
Then
Of course, Don Alfredo knows there's another way of doing it. The silver bullet, don't you know?
Preposterous. It's too much to expect me to believe. Nevertheless, it is true. How long have you known this father? Since he was a child.
Gromit!
Nothing about it.
It's preposterous, Gromit. No more cheese for you.
You ask my son, and he will tell you. Your son of murder. Yes. Hand the boy over to me so that I may take him to a monastery.
I've read a lot of transcripts of court cases of people who were incriminated with werewolfery and witchery. And although the witch hunts and the werewolf hunts were really grotesque and barbaric and far-reaching, there were many towns and hamlets that simply did not believe and would let people go. They were like he was dismissive of this werewolf. Oh, don't talk shite, Show me your hands, show me your teeth. Oh, yeah. I'm sure he says that to him now. Show me your hands and show me your teeth.
Let me see your hands.
Here you go. Let's just see him grin. I beseech you. Please, sir, I beseech you. But there were many of these enclaves. Sorry, I keep interrupting myself. The sunlight there and the colour scheme again looks amazing. It looks brilliant. A lot of the exterior stuff that Hammer shot were very sort of downcast and overcast, I should say, and quite dull. But this is it's very sunny, and in a way that reflects it's Spain, so it genuinely works. But I was saying, there was many places which just went, no, you're not a werewolf. We don't believe this crap. Get out, So you got some proof. Transform in front of us. We're not interested. Who are you? You're the mayor of the town, and you don't know the daughter of the guy that runs the local vineyard. Oh, so lying as well, because she's engaged to somebody else.
You know about his affliction.
About his hairy bits.
As far as you know, this is a perfectly normal young man.
She's been only for only a few days, and you'd be like, no, there's a lot wrong with this guy.
For God's sake, have pity me. Come.
These bars won't hold me.
What are you doing?
Tell me the watchman has a silver bullet.
Oh.
Get it and use it. Use it on me, Father. You must use it. Do you hear? You must use it. You must.
Pepe's bullet. Because Pepe took it out the body of the dog. And so it's still there. It's a silver bullet. Smelted down from the crucifix. Given to his wife by the Archbishop.
you must, my child. It's the truth.
Not true. It's not true.
Just remembered the Werewolf of Paris. He is the werewolf is the product of a rape, but it's a rape by a priest as well. So it just even makes it worse. So I just seeing them two together and my distrust of priests kind of ram that home. Look at that again. That lovely blood red cloudscape in the background. Oh, and Howl's conveniently, in the distance. Look at the angle of that shot as well. Arthur Grant does this movie a massive, massive service. It's fantastic. It looks amazing. Now, that's pretty bad day for night. He's behind you. Oh, did he give his full name? Pepe Volante, or whatever his name is. Like, and only then, when his full name came out, did Pepe go, "Oh yeah, that must be me." How many more Pepes were lying on the side of that cliff? Oh shit! Now, there's lap dissolve taking place there. Rory Ashton didn't want to use that, but just for the hands, they did it. And the hands look wooden. If they'd had the hands in different, the fingers moving, or in different positions for each dissolve. Here's the big transformation. Oliver Reed was so intense during this that Michael Ripper was genuinely terrified. Genuinely terrified. So he says, the look on my face when you see it, I don't know what he's going to do next. Ooh. Bum, 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 bum. Almost John Barry Zulu drums there. Oh my god. The ears and the raspberry rippled forehead.
This young lady has nowhere to stay. She's a friend of Leonce's.
I thought perhaps you could stay here. He just dumps her like, I've got to go back to the church to do churchly things. And like, Teresa's like, I've got no idea who the hell you are. Oh, and by the way, Teresa was a definite sort of play on Mother Teresa. Oh, look at that. Oh dear God. Here we go. Ah. We'll talk about the makeup in a minute. So he's just killed Michael Ripper. Now this, look at this. There was a stunt gate and a real gate, and Oliver Reed could throw the real gate. And apparently actually hurt that jailer. Jailer? Did I write his name down? I did not. I apologise. He's good actually, I like him as well. That's precarious, that. Someone's handing you a bowl of hot soup or whatever that is, like, and you don't even look where it's coming. Just put your hands up. Again, reminds me of Young Frankenstein with the bowl of broth. Gene Hackman hands it to Peter Boyle as the monster and gets it in his lap, doesn't he? Oh, there is a tragedy here. This that they took him in. They took his mother in, looked after her. Benjamin Franco's score takes on a huge, histrionic, strident drive now. And the werewolf seems to like love heights. He's up and above all the time. Let's just quickly talk about the makeup. Roy Ashton's makeup. Yak hair again. You had an Australian dentist gave the fangs, the lower jaw fangs, the underbite. It was a skull cap, which went from the FOD with the raspberry ripple effect above the eyebrows. Look at that. That's a great shot, that. Look at that. But he sees it and doesn't do it. He's like, does he realise? And it went over from the brow down to the back of his head. The ears were applied, and they shoved candles up his nose to broaden his nostrils. Candles up his nose, which would the heat from his own flesh would soften the candles and mould around it. And they pulled the wicks back out. There was a bit of plastic under his top lip to bring that out a bit more. The yak hair, a leotard full of yak hair. So he's wearing a leotard and very uncomfortable. And the contact lenses Very hard contacts they were. And during, well, that instance, that jailhouse moment, during the first take, the contact was stuck to his eyelid, and it caused Oliver Reed a lot of distress. So they had to get a medical team in there and get that contact out right now. But he did enjoy it, and he'd go around the set and he'd chase people around the set, and he went down to the local pub as well. Not with the facial makeup on, but with the bodysuit on, and he'd pay for a pint. You know what he's like. And as the barmaid reached for it, his hairy paw would come out. Now, I've seen people writing about this, saying that his leap is, which I find quite bizarre, is constant leaping around. Wolves are not known for like doing sort of high-rise jaunts. Is that he's actually circling the townsfolk in a sort of parody of what the sheepdog would do to protect the flock from a wolf. I'm not too sure about that. It's a nice idea. Why the fuck would you have hay bales right up there? So we could do this. That's a great shot though, isn't it? Boof! And how dangerous is that? It does look good, don't get me wrong, it does look good. And he gets to the ground there, and the thing is, he could have escaped, he could have gone out through that archway and got away. But no, he climbs up again. Is he circling the people like they're going to be a target? They're going to be his herd? His feeding flock? No, I don't think so. What they're doing, they're ripping off the likes of King Kong and many, many other monster movies where they seek out the high ground and they climb whatever, to get away. But they're pursued. But he's got the gun. He's got Pepe's bullet. Pepe's silver bullet. Again, that's a wonderful shot, that. Oops. This is great as well. The claws and the paws and the big hairy head. It's one thing having a bat in your belfry, but having a wolf up there, a werewolf. Looks great, doesn't it? It is good makeup. See, Jackie Cooper was the stuntman double. They're quite contained baying crowd, aren't they? How's he doing all that? It takes several bell ringers to ring several bells. But one guy's gone in there and he's doing it. So you've got a touch of the Hunchback of Notre Dame as well here. Oh God. This is good, he sees him. Craziness, just zeal. That scene was cut initially. The bullet impact, the blood squirting out. There's also like a sort of Les Miserables sort of thing, the siege of historic buildings. Now, what doesn't happen here, and was unusual, is that he doesn't revert back to human form, which we've seen with Lon Chaney and we've seen with David Norton in American Werewolf and many other hot werewolf movies. But Terence Fisher said that it doesn't matter. He said, look, you don't need it. You can see in his eyes he's at peace now. His soul's been released from the curse. It's over. Oh, get lost. I want to watch it again. Old Soak, Michael Ripper. Rico Gomez, that was the David Conville plays him. Dennis Shaw played the jailer. Isabel Nivon, they must be the whores. right scabby old bitches they were, weren't they? I love the green font as well on the credits. Kind of spooky, icky. Well, folks, that was Hammer's 1961 epic production of The Curse of the Werewolf with Oliver Reed, big Ollie Reed, as a big hirsute maniac, driven crazy by the rays of the full moon and aroused by the blood. It was sweet, I just couldn't help drinking the blood. I wanted more of the blood. Oh, that little lad. What's his name again? Justin Walters. He's magnificent. I wonder what he's done since. I never checked. Curse of the Werewolf. It had a lackluster box office. In fact, it didn't do well at all. As I say, it was paired up with The Shadow of the Cat, which again didn't get much critical praise, and no one in any Hammer circles ever talks about The Shadow of the Cat. It's okay, it's hokey as fuck, but it's not one of their leading lights. However, now we look at Curse of the Werewolf and it genuinely is. And the thing is, like, the backlash against this movie, it's violence, it's combination of sex and violence, the theme of rape being in there, and devoutly sort of anti-Catholicism, wrought havoc with people's morals. So there was a huge outcry against it, and the critics were they were rampant and vicious about this movie. But in the last couple of decades, it's really seen, more than a couple of decades, last 30 years, it's been revered as one of Hammer's most elaborate and clever, imaginative, beautifully shot and quite savage entries in their oeuvre. And I think it's a marvellous movie. It's still, in your annals of your werewolf movies, you've got more bad ones than great ones, but the great ones are great. American Werewolf, The Howling, Wolfen, Silver Bullets, The Wolfman, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and this Curse of the Werewolf, it sits really high and proud amongst the lycanthropic library of movies, and I think it stands the test of time really superbly well. It's great makeup. Roy Ashton excelled himself using yak hair again, the ubiquitous yak hair of any cinematic werewolf has to be festooned with the stuff. There's throat rippage. Again, the stranglings. Like even Halloween, Michael Myers tended to use strangulation in the first Halloween as his first modus to go and kill somebody. Okay, the knife would come in, but he goes for the throat with his hands. And in this, he goes for the throat with his hands. But you could put that down to the fact that it's his first time properly as a big adult werewolf. I don't know how to use my jaws, so I'm going to grab the thing, my victim, and and once I've killed it, I'm hungry. Then I'll do that. I don't know. I'm making this shit up. But folks, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a wonderful film. Great score, Benjamin Frankel, as I say, or I think I was beginning to say, he did concertos, chamber music, symphonies, many other movies as well. But the lyricism of this score is just perfect. There's a lush romance to it. There's a hint of a sort of Hispaniola going in there with the bordello sequence, but then you get all of that hugely bombastic climax, the big leaping around the town, and I'm a werewolf, I will not set any paw upon that floor, I'm going to climb every building around me and have fun doing it, and I'm going to throw these mysteriously placed hay bales on top of this roof on fire, I'm going to throw them down at you. But Frankel's music really kicks into the high gear there, and it's wonderful stuff. Terence Fisher's direction is bold and powerful and direct. The performances are all magnificent. Warren Mitchell is excellent in an undersold performance, but it works. Clifford Evans is magnificent again. I love his performance in this. Oliver Reed, it's a towering. He acted before, but this is the one which cemented him as a magnetic charisma and personality, in a movie, and would outshine everybody else, playing to perfection an animalistic, bestial role. Catherine Feller does great. Yvonne Romaine is outstanding. Richard Wordsworth is exquisite as the beggar. They did fit him for Fangs. See, there's another thing which... He was a werewolf. That's the whole point of this. Why would his son be a werewolf if he, the father, wasn't a werewolf? Because he's meant to be. But John Trevelyan, BBFC, cut that. Nope, can't have that. We can't have a monster raping a woman. Oh, but you can have a man raping a woman. I don't know. It's such a bizarre twist of how they interpret things and what they think is going to be so incendiary. But so he was fitted for Fangs, but his performance. Sorry, I just reminded myself he was fitted with Fangs. I had to ram that point home. He was fitted with Fangs, but never wore them. But his performance is great. Okay, the dancing around. You must dance for your food. And he's like, and he's giving it loads, and he's stomping round and all that. And he gets swelled up in his own dishevelled cloak. But he's wonderful. And of course, what's his name? Oh God, Anthony Dawson as the Marquis. He's a right swine. He's the typical Hammer aristocracy. Just, they pinpoint them with zero tolerance. You are all bastards. You've got money and you exploit the underclass, the working class. You are bastards. And they nailed him well and truly to the hammer cross. Cheers, y'all. I am now going to cut this short because there's a husky on the floor right there that you may have heard has been like growling and snarling at me because she wants to go out. So I must now take my leave, Your Honour, and go and patrol the wasteland with my own little privately owned werewolf, my mini werewolf here. Yeah, she growled at me then. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this. Please, in the meantime, and if ever, let's climb the bell tower and get shot in the chest with silver bullets. In between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. Love and revere Hammer horror. They changed the face of the genre. Universal did, then Hammer did, then the independents did, and then the big mainstream movies did. And now we've kind of gone back. We've kind of turned full circle. Lots of independent movies have come out. Lots of big mainstream movies have come out. Or, well, they've become mainstream. I'm getting snarled and sneezed at as well. Come here. Come here. Come here. Okay, she won't move now, will she? Come here. Come and say hello. Oh. Well, don't bother then. Just growl at me instead. It's all turned full circle now. Because Hammer is back. Amicus is coming back. And I've discussed recently about Tyburn films trying to come back. And they got their own werewolf movie, Legend of the Werewolf. Right, folks, I've said enough because I'm really getting told off here. Please, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And I'll be back. And let's just pray that this video doesn't get blocked because of use of a movie soundtrack. It's happened before.